Is so incredible for coming on the stage. Let's hear it for Alice Merlot. Come on up, Alice.
No, you're good. Thank you, Ben, for that warm welcome, and thank you, Ollie, for sharing your stage with me tonight. There are moments in life that split everything into before and after. Moments that come crashing in and make life as we know it unrecognizable. Our family's story has many of these. It actually starts before our son was even born, with my husband, Evan. On May 3rd, 2011, we went on our first date, a date full of conversation about family, finger painting, and Miami Heat basketball. On May 4th, Evan collapsed at work. His heart had stopped and he had no pulse. A coworker had heard a strange noise and ran towards him. Others dropped to their knees and began CPR. EMTs took over and refused to give up. Doctors called Evan's parents to ask if he was an organ donor, and an ambulance rushed him to the hospital. And because of them, because people acted, and because people cared, Evan lived. He woke up from a 5-day coma with no memory of our first date. But his parents and roommate gently kept saying, "You went on a date with this girl." Luckily for me, he listened, and not too much longer, we would go out on our second first date, one that thankfully we both remember today. Years later, on March 6, 2016, 10 years ago today, happy birthday, sweet boy. Yes, woo-woo! We became parents to a beautiful, precious boy named Ollie. In those first days, we basked in the goodness of newborn snuggles, sweet baby noises, and dreams of who this baby would one day become. At 3 weeks old, and after many days of struggling with nursing, a cry that had changed pitch, and a very sleepy baby, we found ourselves in the pediatric ICU, hearing the words no parent ever dreams of hearing, even in their worst nightmare. Your son is very sick. His heart is 1.5 times the size it should be, and his heart is failing. He needs a heart transplant to live. I will never forget the way Evan and I crumbled into each other, sobbing with fear and sadness and despair. The world didn't simply shift under our feet, it collapsed. We settled into the hospital to wait for Ollie's new heart, and the days began to blur. Echoes, labs, beeping monitors, sleepless nights, different procedures, and the kind of fear and exhaustion that seeps into your bones and never leaves you the same. But in that moment, there were people everywhere helping us carry the weight. Doctors who promised us from day one that they would care for Ollie like their own. Nurses who became caretakers and gatekeepers, and beloved family and friends who covered us in love, fed us, prayed with us, and sat with us, and walked every single step of the way with us. As we waited, just a few states away, a family we had never met was living the worst day of their lives. Their 6-month-old daughter was in intensive care, and she was not going to survive. They were saying goodbye. They could not save their daughter's life, but in the middle of their unimaginable tragedy, they chose to give life to Ollie, a child they had never met. Whenever I doubt that goodness still exists in this chaotic world, I know that it does because of the family who gave our son his tomorrow. A few hours later, Ollie would be wheeled into surgery. And I remember holding him and whispering, we love you, over and over, because I needed those to be the last words he heard from us if anything went wrong. He was barely 10 pounds and not even 2 months old. His surgery lasted hours, and when the surgeon finally came to us, he said, his new heart is beautiful. He's doing so well, and gets an 11 out of 10. And for the first time in weeks, I finally breathed. Ollie recovered, and he grew into the most curious, empathetic, loving, and funny child. He loves computers, crazy roller coasters, and pranks. He loves morning hugs and bunnies and his red plaid pajamas. When he turned 4, we brought him to Olive Garden to celebrate his birthday. He devoured the breadsticks and Alfredo sauce and cried happy tears when the staff sang to him over an ice cream sundae. That was the moment he fell in love with Italian food. So when Make-A-Wish asked what his wish would be just 4 years later, it made complete sense that he landed on, I want to go to New York City and eat at a Michelin star Italian restaurant. Only Ollie. Make-A-Wish didn't bat an eye. We spent a week in New York City, riding the subway, climbing the Empire State Building, and losing countless hours at FAO Schwartz. On the night of his wish, he donned a red tuxedo jacket that you might recognize, and a limo pulled up to take us to Carbone. What happened inside of that restaurant was nothing short of magic. Everyone, the table captains, the doormen, the servers, the bartenders, they all treated Ollie like someone they were honored to know. We were welcomed with a kind of hospitality that felt like friendship. They let him make Caesar salad tableside, and he tried caviar for the first time. We feasted on course after course, nothing topping their famous rigatoni. Halfway through dinner, Ollie asked for my phone so he could go take pictures of the restaurant. 30 minutes later, he returned with a huge grin all over his face, saying, I made friends and we took selfies. And sure enough, my camera roll was full of photos of Ollie and the staff all smiling ear to ear, from Antonio the doorman to Caitlin the general manager. All were beaming with joy just to have Ollie by their side. Ollie wasn't the only famed visitor there that night, though. Halfway through our meal, Aaron Judge came to the table. Yes, the Aaron Judge of the New York Yankees. And he said to our table, I hear there's a celebrity here tonight. Can I have your autograph? Ollie, glowing from his new celebrity status, happily signed his name. And much to my husband Evan's disappointment, Ollie did not ask for Aaron Judge's signature in return. The night ended with every dessert on the menu being brought out to us and the staff serenading Ollie. He sat there glowing, joy written all over him. And this time, I was the one with happy tears streaming down my face. It wasn't just a meal. It was a moment for Ollie to be celebrated, not for what he has survived, but for who he is. It was a night where joy took up more space than fear. And that night happened because of generosity, because of people like you who cared enough to give kids like Ollie moments that lift the weight they carry. That's what your gift does tonight. It doesn't just fund a trip or an experience. It gives families a memory that isn't marked by medical charts and waiting rooms. It gives a child a day where their story is defined by joy. It gives parents like me the chance to look at our child and think, we made it. We're here, and we're still standing. Thank you for that gift, for being part of the light that carried us and will carry so many other children moving forward. Your generosity tonight is what sparks that light and that joy that forever changes a child's life. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for making that possible.